Hey guys, welcome. Sorry for the technical difficulties this evening. I guess you know what? We have to start somewhere, and despite the little technical things that are throwing us off. So, welcome to Are You Feeling Alone and Isolated? The reason we are doing this topic this week is because the last few weeks we have had so many people reach out to us and say that they're feeling alone, they're feeling isolated. They don't know what the next step is. And so the purpose of this webinar or Google Hangout that we're doing for you tonight is that we really want to be the catalyst for you to tap into your inner truth, to really figure out what's been holding you back and blocking you from feeling alive, from feeling on fire, and from really igniting that light within yourself. And by the way, you're not the only one feeling alone right now. So, if we haven't met before, my name is Melissa Mackey, and I am a leadership and relationship expert. I really love helping people tap into their truth, share their story, and fire themselves up. Too many people are walking around pretending to be somebody that they're not, and they just don't have the resources to figure themselves out. So that's what I do. And on this call tonight, we actually have another really special guest and my business partner, Melissa Sterling. Melissa, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Melissa Sterling, and I am a healthy lifestyle expert. So it is my pleasure to help implement strategies into life that support health and happiness. So wherever that is for you, from A to B, there can be a process. It's all doable.
Yes. Everything requires a process and kind of like a system to follow. And that's what we're here for. So tonight, I have a little cheat sheet because I want to stay on track and I want to give you guys as much value as we can. And at the end of this call, we're actually going to be offering a special opportunity to take this conversation even further. We actually have a 6-week online coaching program coming up next week, which will really help you bust through that bullshit that's been holding you back. But stay on till the end of the call and we'll let you know about the information with that. So to get things started, did you know what the number one most important relationship is? It's the relationship you have with yourself. The one with yourself is so crucial in order to be successful in any area of your life. You must learn to master yourself. You must learn to love yourself. You must learn to have the confidence and certainty and influence and respect for yourself. So how do you do that? Well, on tonight's call, we're going to walk you through some steps that you can take in your life starting tomorrow that will help you really tap into who you really are. Melissa?
Yeah, you know what? You don't have to sign up to do coaching with us to get value out of the information we're going to share or by following us on social media and getting involved in the conversation. However, if you choose to work with us in a small group for online coaching, you are going to be assisted in tapping into your truth, breaking through those BS barriers. Melissa had one word for it, but we also call it belief system, and really turning your struggle into a success story. So that's what's waiting for you on the other end of wherever you're at, if that's what you're interested in. So join the conversation, write in your questions, get involved. That's where you start.
Mm-hmm. So Melissa, do you want to talk about the top 5 regrets of humanity that they actually did a bunch of studies in Australia, and the studies were done on was it a hospice?
Yeah, it was somebody went and interviewed, so many people. They were on their deathbed, they were dying, and these are the top 5 regrets. Number 1, I'd wish I'd had more courage to live a life true to myself, not the life that others expected of me. This was the most common regret of all. When people realize that their life is almost over and they look back clearly on it, it's easy to see how many dreams have gone unfulfilled. Most people had not even honored half of their dreams, and now they have to die knowing that it was due to the choices that they had made or not made. Health brings a freedom that very few realize until they no longer have it.
Isn't that crazy? The number one regret of the dying is that they wish they had the courage to live the life they truly wanted to live. How many of you can relate? How many of you have been walking around living your life based on how your parents told you you should live your life? How many of you have walked around your life doing things that your teacher told you to do, or maybe your friends? Isn't it time for you to remove these masks and actually start living the life you want to live?
The next one, I want to finish this list, Melissa, just because I think it's so important. So number 2, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Too often we work all week. We work the weekends. We work the morning, the afternoon, the evening. There is a never-ending cycle of work. You get all your work done. What do you get? More work. Not fun, and it's not cool, and it's not good. Regret number 2, I wish I hadn't worked so hard.
Number 3 is, I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. How many of you have left a conversation saying, oh, I wish I would have said that?
Yeah. Or you think about it the next day and you think, oh, okay, well, I'll tell them when I see them again. And then something happens a few days later and you never get the chance. Sometimes it is too late. Number 4, I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends and my family.
Huge.
That's what I struggle with in my life right now. You know what? Things get busy and we just don't always stay in touch. I always wish I stayed in touch more with my friends and my family, but it's something that has to be consciously worked on every single day.
And number 5, I wish that I had let myself be happier. Right now, we are creating a happiness revolution because we see such a deficit in happiness right now. People are simply not happy. They're not happy with where they are in life. They're not happy with the relationships they have. They're not happy with the financial situation they're in. They're not happy for whatever reason. And so right now, we are in a time that we must figure out what makes us happy, not what makes other people happy.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Melissa. It happens in our own personal life. It happens in our community, and it's happening all over the world. People are not being happy, and I mean, every time you turn on the news channel, you can see some more results of that unhappiness, and that needs to stop. I remember when I was a little girl, I couldn't wait to grow up. I was super, super excited for all the things that I was going to do as an adult. And as I got older, life got tougher. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. You have all these excitements, and then you end up with expectations. You think things are going to be great. Wait till you have responsibility. Things they just don't turn out the way you think they are going to.
So what if you were more powerful? What if you were more confident? What if you believed in yourself more? How would that feel for you?
Well, the good news is that women and men are both on the rise. The hope and belief in self is rising. And when people believe in themselves more, they're 2 times more likely to express higher levels of happiness, 3 times more likely to express higher levels of satisfaction in their job, 10 times more likely to report better health. And this is my favorite. When they express hope and belief in themselves, they are 15 times more likely to report having happier relationships. And these are relationships they're having at work, at home, and like you mentioned before, the most important relationship is with one's self. The good news is that when we believe that we can live the life of our dreams, we take advantage of the resources necessary to make that happen. A woman or man who doesn't believe they can live the life of their dreams, they don't learn how to. they don't even take advantage of resources that are available to them because they think, well, that must be for someone else. It can't be for me.
Mm-hmm. So what are the 5 pillars that you can share with the audience that really helped you in your journey, Melissa?
Well, yeah, I set out a couple of years ago. I thought I had life all figured out. I had a good relationship. I owned a condo. I had my vehicle paid off. I didn't have any credit card debts. Like, I thought I had it all figured out. According to the system, I was winning. But I wasn't happy. I got up every day and I did my job and I did my stuff, but I was tired and I was unfulfilled. So at the time, I didn't think this was very lucky, but now looking back, I feel like the universe did me a favor and it stopped me in my tracks. For me, it was a couple of physical accidents. I got hit by a semi truck and wasn't really hurt that bad to do much, but as I was resting and relaxing, I was in an elevator and the ceiling fell on my head. And that gave me a whole new sense of challenge. I could no longer work. I could no longer drive. I could no longer pay for things because I had no job. I actually lost 2 years ago my condo, my car, my relationship, my sanity, and I became very depressed. I couldn't even take care of myself. And at that point, I knew that something had to change. I had to take care of myself because there was no other option. I was in a space, Melissa, where I couldn't even pack a suitcase. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't figure out what to put in the suitcase. My life was so overwhelming. I didn't have a car because my car got totaled, but I would borrow somebody's car when I wasn't supposed to be driving to attendance, and I would drive around and I would lose focus and lose track of where I was going. I couldn't even get to where I was going. I'd pull over on the highway and I'd cry at myself, trying to look at my clothes, trying to look at my text, trying to figure out where the heck I was going.
Mm-hmm.
I was going nowhere fast because I couldn't even go anywhere. So I had to create, like you said, these pillars. And these pillars grounded me. They brought me back to basic, zero, and gave me a win because every single one of these things is something I can do myself.
Mm-hmm.
The first one was breathe. This is something that we all have access to every single place, every single minute of the day. And for me, it made such an absolute difference in the quality of my life when I learned to connect to my breath. If I was upset, I could take deep breaths and my body, my physiology, my body would actually calm down. If I was excited or, anxious or forgetful, I could always help myself with my breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Later on in my healing, I realized how important this was to couple with exercise too. So the breath and keeping the body with cellular health, like with the breathing, very, very important. My second pillar is water. Now, Melissa, I know you know Dr. Emoto, but I'm not sure if you guys out there know Dr. Emoto. He is a brilliant Japanese doctor scientist who did all these scientific experiments on water. And I know we all know water is H2O. And that means there's 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen, and they're bonded together, and that's water. That's never going to change. However, he scientifically proved that by projecting emotions, love, fear, acceptance, rejection, whatever, into the water, that when you froze the water, it actually changed the expression of the water. So emotions that were loving, they had beautiful crystal when they froze. Emotions that were dark and, had that yucky feeling to them, they actually had a sort of a yucky, murky picture. So when I discovered this, when I discovered that it was possible to change the expression of water through emotion, I was really excited because I know that my body is fully or 70% water. And so if I can change the expression of 70% of me just with an emotion, that's super powerful. So I not only started talking to my water, but I started writing on it. I would write on the jars, happy love water, thank you water. And I would even do this to people that came over to my house. I would let them drink the love water and they wouldn't even know. But I tell you, there was many occasions when people are not in a good mood and they drink the love water and they become happier. Have you ever felt better drinking a glass of water, Melissa?
Nope.
Nope.
It
Well,
really changes lives.
it does. It really changes your life. It actually changes your biochemistry at the cellular scientific level. So it's amazing. Number 3, I developed a better relationship with my food. How did I do that? Well, I developed my own perfect diet. People are always asking me, Melissa, what is the perfect diet? And they're expecting me to say something like, well, you have to eat a Mediterranean diet, or you have to eat a high protein, low carb diet, or you have to eat an all vegetable diet, or whatever fad is going through the radio waves at the current time. I don't really believe in any of that. I believe that in order to create one's perfect diet, all one has to do is 2 things. Eat something. I know, it seems pretty simple, right? And then the second one, 10 to 15 minutes later, check in with yourself. If what you ate makes you feel awesome, you want to get engaged in a conversation, like you want to play cards, go for a walk, do something, then that's a good food for you. If the food you ate gives you a lot of noisy digestion, makes you feel lethargic, bloated, like you just want to have a little nap or sit with your feet up with your pants undone watching TV to relax, it's probably not a good food for you. So you create your list of good foods and not so good foods, and you repeat the good ones as much as possible. That's your perfect diet. Number 4 pillar, my skin. It's so important to have touch on skin, whether it's touching your own skin or whether it's having human contact from somebody else. There are so many endorphins, oxytocin, dopamine, even adrenaline, serotonin. We need these feel-good hormones running through our bodies so that we feel better. And we can do that by touching our skin. Also, I learned, because I was having some health challenges, that it was very easy for toxins to get into my body through my skin. So I had to change a lot of the different body products I was using, and even air fresheners in the house and stuff, because that goes right in my airways. It was going right in my skin, and it was giving my body extra work to do when really I needed all my healing to be helping my brain. So the sensitive receptors through the skin is really important, and human contact is very important. 5th pillar, and I mean, they're all important, but this one, it's kind of like not as individual for one person, so it kind of gets lost in the wayside, and that's the energy and the environment around me. So that was the stuff that I was keeping in my place. That was the people that I was keeping in my space. Those things have to be good. They have to be in line. They have to want me to win. If I hang around a bunch of negative, complaining people that want to have a pity party every day, I'm going to be the average of those 5 people. If I hang around 5 people who are like wanting to get out there and do something and take chances and risks and live life, then I'm going to be more the average of those kinds of people. That's why I like hanging out with you, Melissa. You have such good energy.
Thank you.
Yeah. So those are my pillars. That's what I developed for myself. And I know those aren't perfect pillars for everybody. Everybody has their own, things that they're going to gravitate to. But when I'm in a bad mood, or I feel unsure about something, or I'm trying to figure something out, I really do go back to my basics: air, water, food, skin, and energy. And if those are in check, I'm good to go.
Yeah, it's a very good point, talking about energy and what it's becoming aware of what you're spending your time doing. Are they lifting you up? Are they bringing you down? And same with the people, because just like Tim Ferriss says in his book, 4-Hour Workweek, you are the sum of the 5 closest people you hang around. So who is that you spend most of your time with? There's a really great exercise that we normally teach in our live workshops and events, and we refer to it as the T exercise. Melissa, do you want to explain? We won't get into a lot of detail just because we're on a call right now, but this is your invitation to get out a blank piece of paper and write a T on the page. And Melissa, do you want to explain what the exercise is?
Okay, so the exercise can be done as an individual or it can be done as a group. I'm not sure that, do we want to explain the whole thing without people doing it? Because if you explain the end before we explain the beginning, then it's not as effective.
Sure. We
Yeah.
can, save that for the.
We need to save that because you need to do it live. You can't be watching it, because if you watch the end before you do the beginning, it's not gonna work.
Okay.
So it basically the exercise, the purpose of the exercise is to help you be connected with what's truly important to you and see how that's shaping up in your life. So this is a really cool live exercise that we do in our seminars and our workshops to help you tap into your truth. And it works every time, and it's tailored to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I love doing it. So if you can't join us for one of our live group coaching sessions because the time doesn't work for you, or the commitment doesn't work for you, or you don't want to be in a group session, which group sessions are awesome, but if that doesn't work for you, we can do this one-on-one. It's something that we can go over one-on-one, and it's how we really help you tap into your truth, figure out where you're at, and really, if we're gonna go on a journey from A to B, let's find out what A is. We'll find out what your A is, all right? And then we'll go from there.
Yes. So the next thing that I wanted to ask you folks about is, did you know that 92% of families are dysfunctional? 92%. 92% is a high number. And so when somebody says they come from a perfect family, it very well may be true. But a lot of times, many of us have come from some sort of challenge, struggle, dysfunction as we grew up. And the important thing to realize is that it doesn't define who you are. It has helped shape who you are. And these struggles are actually your greatest successes. These struggles are what help you share your story and figure out how you want to be in the future, how you want to show up in life. Too many people fall victim to their circumstances from what's happened in the past. So if I can share a little bit about myself, I mean, I came from one of those dysfunctional families. It was not perfect. I was in and out of group homes. I was a teen runaway. I was addicted to drugs. And, you know, I experienced attempted suicide by a family member 3 times. 3 times. And this is supposed to be a role model in my life. And so from a very young age, I made a decision that I was fighting for life on my own. I made a choice that I was independent. And it's actually really, looking back now, it really did play a major role in my life, because I was so embarrassed of who I was. I felt if this role model was showing me that, you know, when times get tough, just give up, that I must not be that important. So when I was young, I made the decision that I just wasn't good enough. I wasn't worthy enough. And I didn't deserve to, you know, experience great success. And now what I'm here to share with you is that if you share a similar story, which chances are you probably do, this is your greatest success. And it's time for you to start sharing your truth so you can actually tap into your truth. Now, another really game changer in my life was when I visited my grandpa in the hospital. It was 3 years ago. And my grandpa was the kind of man that was the army guy. He was always very stern. It was his way or the highway. And growing up as a child, I always felt that what us kids, my brothers and I, would do, it was just never good enough. And, you know, my grandpa never talked very nice to my grandma. Sometimes he was, you know, physically abusive. And so when he was in his deathbed, laying in the hospital, I really wanted to go into the room and say something to him. I was seeking for my grandfather to say that he was sorry for the way that he treated us, to say he was sorry for the way he treated my grandmother. And so when I went into his hospital room that day, I didn't know how I was going to start the conversation, because my grandpa and I have never had a heart-to-heart conversation. So I go in there and I say, "Grandpa, what can you tell me about life? What advice can you give me about life?" And I thought, you know, my grandpa's lived a fair number of years. He must have some sort of advice. So he grabs my hand and he says, Melissa, he looked me right in the eyes and he said, do something you love. Do what makes you happy. And I thought, boy, happy and love? This has never come out of my grandpa's mouth. He never talks about being happy. In fact, he was probably the most miserable person I ever knew. And love, I was thrown off. And then I said to him, Grandpa, is there anything that you want me to say to Mom, to Dad, to my brothers, or to Grandma? And what I was looking for was him to say, you know, I'm very sorry for the way that I treated you guys. But instead, he grabbed my hand and he held it ever so gently as he was looking at that clock on the wall. Just, it's like his life. He was watching his life tick away and his body was getting all weak and he couldn't even lift himself up out of the bed, which is very crazy to see, especially such a strong, firm man be in this state. And so my grandpa squeezed my hand and he looked into my eyes and he said, Melissa, tell your grandmother I love her. In that instant, all of my anger, all of my resentment, all the negative feelings and the negative stories I have told myself about my grandpa for years just disappeared. It faded in an instant. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because so many of us have grown up with these stories of how we've lived our life, of how others have treated us. And when you can make the conscious decision to just let that story go, let the negativity go, they can be erased. It is like an emotional weight is lifted off your shoulder. And something that's very powerful to release these stories is to actually visualize. Again, we won't get into the actual exercise, but a great visualization for you to do is to remember a time in your life when you were so happy. It's so easy for us, just like it was for my grandfather, for me to think about all the bad things that have happened. And we often forget about 80% of all the amazing things that have happened in our life. And actually, did you know the number one key to a lasting relationship is gratitude? Think about this for a minute. If more men and women that were experiencing tough times, experiencing maybe even divorce because it's gotten to that point, if you've been experiencing tough relationships at work, with colleagues, with your boss, here's your invitation to start expressing gratitude. And it all comes from within yourself. You are the story narrator of your life. How are you telling your story to others, to yourself? How are you talking to yourself? So in this visualization, what I'm inviting you to do is, after the call's done, close your eyes and remember a time that you were just on fire in life. Everything was working out so smoothly. You were happy. You were elated. You were in a state of joy and bliss. And the reason I want you to think about this is because when you can bring yourself back to this place every single day, or as often as you can remember, you start retraining and reprogramming your mind. And when you can start retraining and reprogramming your mind, it's like you're rewriting the hard drive. And gratitude. Every day before you leave your bedroom, write down 7 things that you're grateful for. Because again, you're retraining and reprogramming your mind. And when you can start seeing the good every single day and appreciating what you have, it is only natural to start seeing the good in others. And so back to my grandpa, I was the one that was speaking at his funeral. And you know, I didn't know what I wanted to say. I didn't want to just write a eulogy or a remembrance of my grandpa based on how I thought all these other people wanted to hear how his life was. I wanted to write it based on what I wanted to say. And what came to me was, it was my grandpa that taught me how to fish. It was my grandpa that taught me how to water ski. It was my grandpa and grandma's house who my brothers and I would look so forward to going to in the summertime. And yet I forgot about all those good times. So if you're feeling alone and isolated in your life, this is your invitation to start recognizing and appreciating all that you've been through in your life so far. This is part of your journey.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Melissa. If you're sitting here watching this video, then we know that you have 100% record for getting to where you are today. You have gone through so many things: dysfunctional family, perfect family. Your perfect family can be dysfunctional. Everybody else thinks it's good, but you know behind closed door it's not. You know, you're keeping up with the Joneses on the outside, but inside your credit card bills are piling up and you don't know where your next meal is coming from. You know, men and women, even though they have the ability to feed their families, they can drink clean water, they can see a doctor, they can get an education, it can still feel like living in poverty. If you don't have options and choices, that's poverty. If you're stuck in whatever it is that's going on, that's poverty, and that sucks. So even somebody with a picture perfect family from the outside can be experiencing dysfunction. And Melissa, exactly what you said about the high percentage of dysfunctional families, heck, I think we all came from some sort of dysfunctional family. And if our family wasn't dysfunctional, then we've all worked someplace that was dysfunctional, or we experienced a friend or loved one who had a dysfunctional family. So we understand and have had experience in that dysfunction. It never has to stay the same. We don't have to keep playing that same story over and over and over again. We are going to get through what's in front of us. So we have the option. Do we want to get through it with grace and poise, or do we want to get through it kicking and screaming? I used to personally take the kicking and screaming route a lot.
How did that work out for you?
Well, since I was about 2, you know how that works out. The tenacity of a 2-year-old never backs down, and then it carried me through life. Finally, like I said before, the universe hit me on the head with a plate, 50-pound plate, and knocked some sense into me. And I look back at that struggle, and I could have let that consume me. I could have let myself get so depressed and go on meds and totally withdraw myself from society and no longer contribute. And I had a choice. And it was to put one foot in front of the other towards something that I actually wanted, instead of trying to run away from things that I didn't. And it was a whole different conscious level of thinking. And I had to realize that, like your grandfather, like our parents, these people that come before us, they're fellow strugglers. They didn't get an instruction booklet in life on, like, when 2 parents have a little new baby, it doesn't come with a book of instructions. They got to figure this little baby out. And as they grow up, they have this child to figure out, and finally they're an adult to figure out. And we think that our parents have all the answers. Our parents are just struggling like we are, but they have more responsibility. And when I started looking at my own parents as fellow strugglers instead of people that had done something to me, it changed my perspective, and it allowed me to have more compassion for them as people. But it wasn't until I looked at, they were struggling too. And you know what? Our neighbors are struggling, our coworkers are struggling, our bosses are struggling, the children in the community are struggling. Everybody has a struggle. And collectively, it seems that we're all so afraid to share our struggle that we'd rather be isolated and alone. And I know too, Melissa, we get at least 1 to 5 messages every single day of people who are feeling alone and isolated, and they want to reach out, which is why we offer coaching programs. And I love doing one-on-one coaching. I love even going to stay with people for a few days and doing workshops. But the group coaching that we have starting next week is really, really special. First of all, it's private and confidential because people join us from all over North America. So this is not going to be your neighbor from down the street knowing what's going on in your life. These are people who are also struggling, who want to share in a group environment so that they can be better and they can help other people be better. And we've had such great success from all walks of life. People from age 17 to 70, there's no age restriction, there's no sex restriction, there's no income restriction. All you have to do is want to genuinely want to put the steps in practice to become a better version of yourself. And we'll help you. We'll help you tap into that truth, tap into that passion, and help you turn that passion into something that's pleasurable and profitable for you. We'll help you break through those belief systems, that BS that holds you back, and really turn that story of struggle into a smashing success.
Totally. You couldn't have said it any better. You know, the people that we really love working with are people that want to see results.
Yeah.
And they're people that take action. They're not the people that talk about wanting to make change in their life, but refuse to take that next step forward. We are committed to helping people break through all that BS that's been holding them back. We are committed to helping people get the results that they really want in their life. We're committed to making people's dreams become a reality and how to actually rewrite your story of life.
Yeah, you know what? What I love about what we do is we really create a safe space for the conversation. And in that conversation, souls can evolve, things can grow. And it's so beautiful to experience the transformation and the belief and confidence and see that rise and rise and rise each week. People who didn't think they could do something are now like, people who don't even think they can exercise are signing up to run marathons in 6 months. And they're training for something with conviction. And people who are, at the end of their ropes in their relationship are putting the pieces back together and going on a second honeymoon.
Mm-hmm.
Like these are the things that dreams are made of. And it's like, I'm actually personally so privileged to participate in this. It's so fun to watch people transform and become a more beautiful, happy, healthy version of themselves, showing their true potential, showing their actually like true passion, and turning their passion into a business, or getting that promotion that they've wanted for so long that they've held themselves back at. People are their own worst enemy. They hold themselves back from getting promotions. They hold themselves back from going on vacation. They hold themselves back from having that relationship because they're so scared of something. And it's time to break through that fear.
Yes. So what we would love to invite you to do is visit the website ignitemenow.com/rock download. ROCKDOWNLOAD. The reason it's rock is because our coaching is rock your world, charge your life. Isn't it time you want to freaking be charged up?
Yeah, what would it feel like to wake up in the morning and be super, super excited about all the things that you knew you were going to accomplish that day? And that those things that you were going to accomplish were going to help you build better relationships at work, better relationships with your family, and a more satisfying, loving relationship with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And as you go to bed at night, you lay your head down to sleep, you've written your list of 7 gratefuls, and you think, you know what? I had a really great day. Maybe I didn't get everything done on my list, but the things that I did get done, I had fun doing them. And I had some great conversations, and I laughed a little bit. I even had a little bit of a belly laugh. And I, ate some good food and had a good time. If you could do that every day, isn't that what life's about? And when we break through the barriers that hold us back and tap into our truth and share our stories, we feel successful all the time.
Yeah, you really become unstoppable.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions, please get a hold of us on Facebook.
Yes.
And tonight, the special offer for you, normally this coaching program is $697 and it's a 6-week course. It's 1 hour per week and we meet via Skype. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world. You can connect via your phone or you can connect via your computer. And Melissa, what is this special offer for the people listening right now?
Well, we have 2 spaces left in our coaching class that will start next week. And Melissa and I are going to invest, if I get the numbers right, $300 towards your tuition. So it's going to cost you only $397. $397 for 6 weeks of coaching. There's 2 spots open for 2 lucky people who are ready to take action. This coaching isn't for everybody. It's not for those that want a magic pill. It's not for those that want an easy solution. And it's not for those who think that they're going to hire us to do the work for them. That's not how this works. This works if you work. If you do the work, you will get the results. Guaranteed. There's no way that you can't get results if you do the work. And you can't miss the coaching sessions. You have to show up every week. This is an investment you're making in yourself and a commitment that you're making to yourself, to both of us, and to the whole group. We're going to grow as a group, and it's going to be fantastic.
Perfect. So there you have it, ignitemenow.com/rock download.
Yes.
If there's an issue with that, just contact us on Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook's probably the best way to get a hold of both of us. And we just wanted to really thank you for tuning in. Thank you for having that little thought and following through and clicking on that link, because that really is the I mean, we all know we want something different, but you have to take action and take an actionable step towards something different and in order to have change and growth in your life. So if that's a step that you're ready to take, let's take it. We start next week. Let's go.
Bye, guys, and thanks for tuning in tonight.
Yes. Bye-bye.